Hi everybody, it's Meg from Books Off the Beaten Path, and it is time for another early morning book review. And today I'll be reviewing two books, not one, but two, and two very different books. One of which I no longer have in my possession. I know I've said before that I don't really unhaul books. Well, I unhauled this one. And after the review, hopefully you'll understand why. No offense to the author, because, she did more than I did. She published a book. Good for her. I've got some books published on Amazon. Maybe I should start over. No, I'm not going to start over. I don't have time before work to start over, so we're just going to go with it. Let me back up. Good morning. We're going to be reviewing two books. I have one physical copy of the book, and the other book I have turned in for trade at my local used bookstore because I'm never going to read it and I'm not going to recommend it. So let's get started. So the book that I don't have with me is called The Bones of Santorini, which I will put a picture of it up right there. It was a mystery that took place during the building of the Suez Canal. That was my first point of contention with the book. Do you know when the Suez Canal was built? Okay, see, I don't. I didn't. I had to look that up. There was no sense. I knew they were running around in carriages, but that kind of is a long period of time. You couldn't just put a date in there somewhere, like at the beginning or something like that. It was a hot night in 1837 or something like that. Don't make me have to go look up what time period we're in. I'm not into it. Anyway, so this is the book. This was a mystery. It was a murder mystery, and it was... I guess it was executed well. My problems with the book were, it's about this guy by the name of Lord Tyrington. And he's this aristocrat that doesn't have any money, and he's also an archaeologist, and so he's working on a dig in Santorini, working on the dig. So he's working on the dig, and it's during the time of the Suez Canal being built, and there's this French, really high up person in the Suez Canal process who is murdered, and that takes place in another city, and then he goes back to his dig, and he meets this, incorrigible, young, heroic woman who's, always in costume, and she's out there, trying to detect things and fight for the workers and everything like that. Here's my problem with it. My problem with it was we started out with no sense of time or place. We were just kind of awash. We didn't know where we were. We didn't know what we were doing. The characters never really developed more beyond cardboard cutouts. Our hero was a nice enough guy. He was a hero. He was, very cardboard cutout. Catherine Briggs, I believe, was the name of our heroine, and she's very cardboardy cutout. She was almost comical. And I really don't think that the author meant her to be comical, but she was almost comical. And then as far as the mystery goes, it was convoluted and really sort of pointless as to why they were involved. It was really like they were making decisions that you were like, well, this really doesn't have anything to do with you and what you're doing. There's a part of the book where she kind of tries to tie it in, like one of his workers has been accused of, doing some crime and everything like that, a different type of murder or something like that. And so he goes to defend the worker, but then we're back with the French diplomats and everything. And it was just really, I don't recommend it to anyone. It was like, she was like, if I was the author, I would almost be thinking, look, I've written a book. It doesn't make complete sense, but it has a very definite beginning, middle, and end, and I'm just going to publish it, and it's going to be great. Now, it got some good reviews on Goodreads. So, I mean, I'm probably the outlier there, but I did not like it at all, and I'm not recommending it. Okay, so that was The Bones of Santorini. Put it back up there again. Now, the next book I read is something I've been dying to read for a long time, and I haven't seen the movie, and it is Call Me By Your Name. Now, I love Timothée Chalamet, I really do, and I want to see this movie. I haven't seen it yet, but I heard that the book was just absolutely heart-wrenching. And I'm going to say that for 90% of the book, I didn't find it heart-wrenching. It was very angsty. It was, if you don't know the story of the book, let me just briefly tell you. It's about a young man who goes to Italy every summer with his professor parents, and they have this villa, and they bring on these young graduate students every summer, and this young boy falls in love with one of the graduate students. And they fall in love, and they end up having a sexual relationship, and then things progress, life moves on, blah, blah, blah. So to me, it was a very typical romance novel. It was angsty. There was a lot of sex in it. There was a lot of Elio, who is the Timothée Chalamet character, is wise beyond his years. Maybe because he's just been left to his own devices and he's around all this academia and everything like that. But he's 17 in the book. And he also has a relationship with a young woman in the book. And so it's not like he's struggling with his sexuality. He doesn't seem to be struggling with it. There are times when he feels guilty. There are times when he feels angsty about having his relationship with Oliver, but really not that much. But I was reading it and I was going through it and I was like, okay, it's a typical romance. It's, it's a romance novel, and I'm not against romance novel. And, it's written, the prose is beautiful. It's a translated novel. So it was written, I think it's translated. I don't want to say that if I'm not sure. But anyway, it was written by Andre Aciman. Wait a minute. Ackerman? Let's do Ackerman. So anyway, typical love story. And I didn't know what the hype was about. I was like, I just don't get this. Is it just because it's a different type of relationship? Being one between two men? Is that why it was so, riveting and everything like that? I just don't get it. I mean, I enjoyed it. I'm reading it, blah, 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 blah. I get to the end, bam. The end hit me like a ton of bricks, and it broke me. And it was so sad and so heart-wrenching. And I lay in bed because, I read in bed and I just had my hand on my heart. And I was like, oh my God, it was so beautifully done and so sad. And I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen some clips of the movie. And I think the ending is different from the ending in the book. The ending in the book takes place years, I'm talking years, after the affair, the summer. And it took my breath away. I would highly recommend this book. It is graphic, so be ready for that. But, if you're reading romance novels, you're probably used to graphic anyway. But this is graphic between two men, which may be a little bit different for some people. But I'm telling you, though, wow. The end I have a little gray in my hair. And I think I got a little more gray after reading the end of this one. It was really, really good. So those are my 2 book reviews. One of them, thumbs down. The other one, thumbs up. Those are my 2 book reviews, and I'm currently reading A Haunting on the Hill, which I'll put a picture of right there, and we'll see how that one goes. I'm a little bit, because I'm a big Shirley Jackson fan. I've read I think most of her work, even, you know, books of short stories and everything like that. So this one I think is trying to take on that Shirley Jackson Hill House feel. I mean, at least they're calling the place Hill House where they're going. But that's for another time. Leave me a comment. I love the comments. Leave me a comment so I can comment back and talk to all my friends. Hit the like button, hit subscribe if you haven't already. If you have already, love ya. And I love my peeps, and I'm having a great time. I hope you guys are having a great summer too, and I will check you later.